Hey everybody, it's Rob here. GG just released a new Path of Exile 2 patch just a few hours ago. And it has a lot of players in the community discussing very emotionally because obviously existing builds have been nerfed. And GG said this in the past, they're gonna do this. But there are a couple of points here I think that could be done differently, especially what this guy here is saying in the meme. We don't have free respecs. And people just keep having to reroll their builds, obviously, because they keep nerfing like these outliers that are overperforming, that are like clearly too strong. But there's not really a way for people, you know, to reset their current characters without paying absurd amounts of gold. So I'm just level 77, and you see here, if I go to the vendor, every point, if I want to refund something, every point here costs me 5,400 gold, and I already have, you know, like 80, 90 of these points. So to completely respec, I would need like a couple hundred thousands of gold, and that's actually like pretty hard to farm, and it's gonna take some long time. And if you just enjoy the build, you maybe just finished the campaign and you're on a build and now it doesn't really work anymore, it's a bit of a problem. And I think in an early access version, it would be great to have some way of a free respec, like either offer like a full free respec when they are doing these kind of changes, or even significantly reduce, or even, in my opinion, remove the gold cost, because those gold costs are literally insane. And some of the nerfs here for this like a cast on crit or on freeze meta and like other like, you know, trigger gems here. There was a user here, Cormash, who made a spreadsheet. I've not played this build, but it was very strong on the sorcerer. And you see here the magnitude of the nerf here in most cases is like damage divided by 10. So you are losing a ton of DPS, and it's just like very frustrating for these kind of players. Now, again, it is good that GGG is communicating this and is very open about this kind of stuff. They've said this from the beginning. They're going to address these kind of like, you know, outlying builds and stuff. And I think that's a very good thing. It would just be cool if there would be, you know, some way for players to easier switch the build, especially after these nerfs, because they keep on popping in. Like almost every day, some other meta build is getting rightfully adjusted or nerfed. It would just be nice for them to give us something that we can work with in terms of respecing and, you know, like changing our builds. I've actually like talked about this a little bit here on X as well, and a lot of people have similar opinions. Some people here even compare it to what we have seen in Diablo 4 Season 1, and I definitely disagree with that, because in Season 1, if you remember in Diablo 4, like we had this like great nerf patch where they basically nerfed the cooldown, they nerfed the crit, they nerfed the vulnerable, and all these kind of things here. It was basically like a big nerf to all the fun. Now, obviously a lot of people have fun you know, when they are feeling like OP, or when they feel like they're cheating or exploiting in a video game like that, because it's just like, you know, we're playing a video game for fun, and in the end, if you're feeling powerful, that's a big, you know, power fantasy that a lot of people like. However, for the balance of the game, I think it's very cool that GG specifically targets these certain builds to bring them like back in line with some of the other builds, and that's very refreshing to see, and not just, you know, generally nerf like everything. And there's a full patch. This was only like one of the patch notes here about these trigger gem changes. There is another change here that I really like, because I've been playing a melee character, and melee seems to be like not the craziest in the game. Like I just fixed like some of my characters here. I have some decent dress right now. I have max block and stuff, but I'm playing like a level 77 Titan, and especially the Titan, like it feels kind of slow. I've also seen other players like agreeing with this, or also seeing that the Titan is a bit slow. And you have this like active and passive block. You see here, once I press my raise shield, this is active block, and passive block is just when I'm walking around. And prior to this, like when something was shooting from the back or from the sides, it would not be able to be passively blocked without having, you know, the shield up or facing the monster. But now, as you're just moving around, even if something is hitting you with a projectile from behind, this block chance applies, and that makes it very strong, from my understanding. I just did like a 1 with this class here, and the change is pretty significant here, like almost having like the max block chance. This reminds me a lot of Diablo 2, where you have just like 75 block, but here you can also block everything. You can block the the spells now that they shoot. You can obviously block arrows, you can block melee attacks. The way I understand it, the only thing you can't block is like these like big ground attacks. And now you can like block them even from behind. So this is like one of the cool buffs here that we got for melee. I hope it's not the only buff, and like long term we're gonna see more, because in general the sentiment is that it's pretty weak. Melee, like there's also a lot of memes here on Reddit. I think somebody made a post of like what the most popular ascendancy classes are in like the top 1000 in the ladder. And I think more than 1/3 of the player base is basically playing a Deadeye, which is like a ranged character basically, and just melee has been quite a bit underwhelming. They also did some more changes here to the dodge roll. So you can now push away monsters. Like people have been complaining that they've been getting stuck like using this dodge rolls. You can basically use this indefinitely with auto cooldown, and now your dodge roll is actually pushing some monsters out, and it's gonna be a lot harder for you to get stuck. And I feel like it was feeling very clunky whenever like you would get stuck with this dodge roll. And now you can actually dodge them back, and it also like reduces your size now, so you can like get stuck like way less easily basically. Also another cool thing that might help some of the melee classes here. Okay, Bone Shredder is more reliable. This is like a melee ability. And also Leech has been buffed. Obviously this is gonna like pretty much buff everybody. But also like very good for monks. Like I think this also applies to Mana Leech. I don't know exactly like how big this buff is, but this will also apply to Life Leech. Duration of armor break has been increased. So this is like what especially the Titan is, the Warbringer is using a lot on the Warrior. More improves here. There's another quality of life here, and many of you don't know, might not notice. If you control left click something here like if you want to identify your items, you can just control left click, and the vendor here is going to identify all your items. It's just like a hotkey basically. Like you just control left click it to just easier access. You don't have to make like, you know, 1 click, 2 clicks. You just control left click, boom, and then it will identify your items. And it seems like they've added this functionality to open the currency exchange now, I think. So we can, yeah, this is like gonna be the currency exchange. So you see, boom, I just do control left click, and it basically, I don't have to, you know, like select anything. I just hold control and then left click the vendor, and boom, I can instantly do the currency exchange. So another cool change here. And just like a bunch of more like quality of life changes that they're doing here, as well as a bunch of bug fixes, a lot of ultimatum changes. I feel like there's also like some stuff for the Sanctum that they could change. Like I'm not a big fan of all these traps. Now, not everybody has to like all the endgame stuff, but I think specifically for melee characters in the first trial, the one that you do in Act 2, with the honor system, it feels still very punishing. And I've heard this a lot in my community as well, that it feels like rather punishing for melee players with this like honor, like losing the honor, and then especially when you're fighting the boss in the end and you're losing all your honor, it can be quite a challenge for a melee character. So we'll see, but this is like already great changes. I much appreciate GGG being so transparent, and it seems like they're watching a lot of streams and basically like changing some of the crazy OP stuff and buffing some of the underperforming stuff. But yeah, this could just come with free respecs. And let me just refresh this post here one more time. I'm going to link this below as well here, asking the community. And it seems like a lot of people are definitely on board with having some more freedom in respecing. Maybe this is something, at least for the early access, they can address. Hope you enjoyed, my friends. Good luck not getting all the builds that you are playing nerfed, and maybe we'll get some changes here for the respecs. GG, take care.